Hi friends, you are watching Down Performance Engineering YouTube channel. Today I got two keys. Yes, these keys belongs to Yamaha R15. Okay, yeah. Today we are going to see about comparison between Yamaha R15 version 2 and version 3. What are the specifications on version 2 and version 3? We are going to compare between the version 2 and version 3. What are the advantages, disadvantages, before we're going to see about this version 2 and version 3, we need to review about this bike. When factory settings, factory tuned, stock bike, what are the modifications. Actually, Yamaha R15 version 2 is an discontinued and they bring an version 3. What are the drawbacks in version 2? They will be neglected on version 3. So how much of the horsepower increases and what are the specification improved from version 2 to version 3? The evolution of R15 is too much of advantages haven and some drawbacks also haven when comparing to version 2 and version 3. Today we are going to see about this full specification of version 2 and version 3. First we compare with Outlook and the specifications of engine specification and horsepower and some technical advantages. What are the advantages in this bike? Actually V2 and V3 is also same outlook in riding style, riding posture, everything same. Even the exhaust tip, then the rear part, it's all on same structure but little bit modification. Actually version 2 is an awesome bike and version 3 is also some advantages came when comparing to version 3. Outlook and performance and some safety features. First we start about the front suspension system is telescopic fork and disc plate is smaller on V2. In V3 it's bigger. The disc plate is smaller on V2 when comparing to V3. Disc plate is and fork is wider and have ABS braking system. In V2 normal speedometer. This act as a speedometer and ABS. This is only act as a speedometer. And these have a twin headlamp. They have daytime running lamp and high beam as a normal bike, but it's bigger and wider high beam and day headlamp in V2. In V3 they have only smaller LED bulbs. It is for high beam and daytime running lamp also good as same as in V2, but it is smaller when comparing to V2. That DRL and headlamp everything is smaller and powerless also they have. And this is air scoop is for only design, not for performance purpose and not even for cooling purpose also. This is act as an just a design for that air scoop. Then front they have for aerodynamic purpose, it means it's good. They have only in BS6 model now, so always it will be running live and pass light also have an and switch like. Then quality of the material of the display is too much rusted. And then Yamaha factory stock tire is 180 and 70. This is stock tire, but in V2 I modified it to 120 wider tire. This already video was put on about these tires. We can install to bore. And then the radiator of V2 is bigger and then they have aerodynamic air cooling system for the engine exhaust pipe everything. In V3 they don't have any aerodynamic and air scoop for that cooling purpose of the engine. They have only have small radiator for this bike. Not even have cooling for exhaust manifold or anything, just like a normal. It simply blocked the air. For ventilation purpose only they belong to that radiator. And then air scoop for the fairings. They have sleek design for that atmospheric air to aerodynamic purpose. The same as in V2 having same that, but in that fairing having too much of airflow for ventilating the engine heat. You see that radiator also having cooling. In that underbelly also you see that exhaust system is a normal exhaust. Only that muffler and then downpipe. When comparing to V3 in BS6 model, they have wider muffler and they have a catalytic converter and O2 sensor. This will used to measure how much of oxygen will on that exhaust pipe. This is an O2 sensor. When comparing to V2, V3 have some special feature like O2 sensor and catalytic converter and a big muffler, and having a delta box chassis on both bikes. Delta box is for a racing purpose. That chassis is everything, frame everything also same when comparing to V2 and V3 also same. Like that fairing and outlook and some advantages additionally they installed on that V3 bike, that's all. Like VVA in that visor also in stock visor, but this is modified for aerodynamic purpose. It's good, but and that front handlebar, you see when that stem to that handlebar is 2 inches height increased when in V2. In V3 that stem and that handlebar also in same angle and same height, so that will be in the riding posture will be too much of reduced in V3. In V2 it's like normal bike. You see some disadvantages in that visor also have when full turning radius in this kind of radius, so you can't able to control that bike in traffic and small streets. In B2 they have some more gap for the handlebar between and the visor, so no more issues happen. They have twin throttle cable. They also have twin throttle cable. In master also same master in that but I modified that clutch lever and handle lever. And additionally is that in V2 they have used metal petrol tank fuel tank, but in V3 that is used for cooling purpose. In this aerodynamic purpose, the air will be vented to inside of the tank, that metal tank, so the fuel tank will be always in cool, so no need to evaporate that petrol. And then seating position, this is slippery seat. In comparing to V3 it's too much of grip, and then wide air is more wider, so rider feel very comfortable in highway, not on street. And then pillion is height reduced in V3. In V2 the height is increased, so this advantages on V3 have the pillion seat height is reduced. And then gripping, so in V2 they don't have to grip that any part of the pillion person, but in V3 they have. And then footrest also same, but then the rear brake disc brake is master, they used wider bigger. And then swing arm, in swing arm on V2 is die casting, and swing arm of V3 they used investment casting. The investment casting is an low weight and low material used in this kind of casting in swing arm. You see there's some hollow structure, not on fully molded, just hollow structure. In V2 they is fully molded. In V3 there is investment casting and centrifugal casting. Okay, in suspension they use small suspension, so good. But in tire, they in Yamaha stock bike they use 140/70 and 17 radius. Same I used in V2 also, but I used TVS. In V3 they used Yamaha MRF product. That exhaust tail tip also wider in V3 and smaller in V2. And then tail TD, you see the tail license plate holder is wider and In V2 they have rear mud guard, so no much of mud and everything will hit on that bike. But in V3 they additionally given this tail TT. But that in plastic part everywhere in fiber always it's broken, and V3 also and V2 also. The seating height also reduced in V3 when comparing to V2. And the digital console we finally come. They have additional features when comparing to V2. Yes, engine check light and gear shifting indicator. Select and reset button have separated. We can select trip 1, trip 2, kilometers, average, liter mileage consumed, and average mileage, overall mileage. These are installed in this bike in V3 BS6 model. You can select and reset have in different buttons they have given on V3. Okay, you have a RPM limit of 13k RPM, maximum limit of, but critical RPM is 13k, but normal RPM you can reach up to 10 to 11k. They are having shifter indicators, second gear, third gear, which gear we are going. Neutral have that neutral indicator light on that green, and the ABS have some light and indicators when turning, and gear shifting indicator and RPM limiter, that light will be glow. You have pass light and kill switch. Okay, let me compare two with two. We do have small speedometer, but in RPM they given tachometer analog method. They have neutral and high beam and indicator, engine check light, and then temperature sensor. These all the lights are in that console. They have select and reset in one single button. They have fuel indicators and pass light, kill switch. You can pass light easily in highway in taking overtake. It will be very used for overtaking this kind of pass light. They have select. Okay, they have only fuel indicator like reserve. F means reserve 83 kilometers, and trip 1 220, trip 2 178 kilometers. These all only have on this bike. You can reset by long press that button. Now you see this trip 1 trip 2 is 0, and F will be, if you tank full means that F will be gone on that digital console. Okay, let's check about this engine sound. பண்ணுறது வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 10 மேக்ஸிமம். That ideal RPM is 1000 RPM. 9k வரைக்கும் தாராளமாக நீங்கள் ஹைவே in idling position, but we can cruise up to 11k RPM, but that critical speed RPM of 12k, but you can push up to 10 to 9k. We can drive up to 4k in smooth engine sound. நீங்கள் கேட்கலாம். It's always good when comparing to V3, this kind of analog and digital meter. And performance oriented means how much of that performance, like when V2 have stock bike and raw power you can feel like in V2. You can feel the real power on the engine to rear wheel, on track everything is same. In comparing to V3 they have ABS and lots of features. Thank you for watching, friends. If you have any doubts or I missed anything, you just comment on Instagram by scanning this QR code, or you can comment on YouTube section by following my YouTube channels, or you can directly message on my WhatsApp group by scanning this QR code, or you can comment anything or call me on Facebook.